Hello everyone and welcome to today's show on how to start a credit repair business. I'm really excited that everybody could make it today. I am going to go through at a pretty fast pace today because I have a tremendous amount of information to go and I have a webinar, another webinar in about an hour, so I only have an hour to go through all of this. So if you do have any questions through the event, here is our actual contact information. 877-600-2487 is our phone number and our email address is info@creditsuite.com. Before we jump in, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Ty Crandall. I'm actually the CEO of Credit Suite. We help companies get business credit financing, and we also help companies offer business credit and financing as a service. So I am not in the credit repair industry, which might make you say, why are you doing this kind of webinar? Well, I actually, in my last life, I built and sold a credit repair company. So I'm probably one of the only people you'll actually hear from who's actually been through this process of starting from scratch, building a very successful credit repair company, selling it for a lot of money, and then I've been very active in the business credit space ever since. You're not going to be sold anything today. You're not going to be pitched anything. I have no interest in what I'm telling you. I'm not trying to get you to buy anything. So sometimes it's nice hearing from a neutral party who's not trying to pitch you on something to get great content, and that's exactly what we're going to be diving into today. I also put together a link for you here at the bottom of the page that I strongly recommend that you check out. I'll be mentioning it throughout the event. It's creditsuite.com is our website, creditsuite.com. That's S-U-I-T-E, creditsuite.com/credit repair. On that page, you're going to have access to a ton of free resources I put together, especially for this event. I put together about 7 training videos teaching you how to get advertising, how to get customers, how to do just about every part of the credit repair process. And there's also a lot of other free stuff that you're able to download in one package, from marketing content for credit repair, including emails and social media posts and free reports and ebooks and PowerPoint presentations, even a tool that I used a lot when I owned a credit repair business, which is called a credit repair kit that we used to give away to get new customers in. And it has a 101 letter dispute letter library on top of like a 130-page book that walks through exactly how to fix credit, all kinds of really cool free resources that I got back in the day that I've had made customizable so that you could put your name and all those type of things on it. So it's all available in that one link. All you have to do is opt in and get it. And if you do opt in, I'll send you emails on business credit financing. I'll even have somebody contact you about credit repair outsourcing software in case you have an interest there. If you don't, you don't, but I'll at least give you a recommendation of somebody reputable in that space. So let's go ahead and jump in. And again, that website you'll see several times throughout the event. So if you don't have time to write it down now, no big deal. It is creditsuite.com/credit repair. So first I want to jump in and talk a little bit about what is credit repair. Now, on my YouTube channel, if you search Ty Crandall or business credit, you'll find my YouTube channel. I have a whole video that we just went through an hour of how credit repair actually works. And I got a handful of slides here from that because it pretty much gives you a good idea, but we don't have time to spend the whole hour here just on how credit repair works. So we're going to go through this. If you want more info, check out that video. And again, I want to at least give you kind of an overview here of exactly how this process. Okay, so let's check out some results. Sorry about that. I'm actually working from the home office today, so one of my protective German Shepherds is seeing somebody at my door. All right, so here we go. First of all, let's talk a little bit about credit repair actual results. So actually, let me start at the beginning. So what is credit repair? Well, it's really the process of removing inaccurate, unverifiable, and untimely accounts from your personal credit report. And we'll dive in and dissect that here in a minute, where I'll show you what those 3 actually mean. So first, I want to show you some actual results from back in my credit repair days, just so you can see kind of the effectiveness of credit repair. Now, I didn't hand pick these. The truth is, when I owned a credit repair business, a lot of people didn't think that credit repair worked. So as a result, I kept thousands and thousands of results on our website, just like these, so people could actually see exactly that credit repair did work. So these are the kind of results that we produced in our credit repair business. These are all tax liens that were deleted. This is pretty common, what we would see in a normal round of disputes, a lot of deletions. new information below or verified no change means they didn't really delete the account. So you kind of see usually a combination of deleted items and some accounts that weren't deleted. And then you see some that just have a lot more accounts that are deleted. On this one, you could probably see 2, 4, I don't know, there's 15, 20 accounts deleted in one round of disputes. Here's another one where actually this is the first page of the report. This person actually had 35 negative items deleted. This was the first page of the results. The second page had the rest. And as you can see here, there's everything from Discover to collection accounts to Barclays Bank to Aurora Bank was an actual foreclosure. We had tax liens removed. We basically got everything off the TransUnion deleted in just one round of disputes. Here's another one with a bunch of deletions. Again, pretty common, a lot of deletions, some that aren't deleted, and another. And again, I can go on and on for hours with these kind of results because I have thousands to show, but I just want to show you the effectiveness of credit repair. This is what results really look like once you nail down what I'm about to teach you over the next hour. So how does this work? I mean, how do you get these kind of results? Well, first of all, there's a lot of consumer laws that govern what creditors and the bureaus can actually do and what they can't do. And the main law that regulates credit bureaus is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or it's also known as the FCRA. Now, the FCRA is a U.S. law that regulates the collection, dissemination, and use of consumer information, including consumer credit information. And this was created back in the 70s. The credit bureaus were doing all kinds of crazy things back there. They were collecting all types of info, and they really had no regard of whether the info was accurate or not. They were just collecting data however they could get it. They were selling it to anybody that could buy it or would buy it because there was no regulation restricting what they could and couldn't do. So to give you an idea how bad this was, Equifax, for example, would call neighbors claiming to be a relative of the consumer and get gossip, get news, and then they would collect data regarding sex life, divorce. I mean, it was pretty bad, the kind of data they were collecting, and they would even incentivize their people that worked for them. Like whoever got the most dirt would actually get incentives. So this is what in the 70s credit collection and the selling of data was actually like. There were no restrictions on what data they could actually collect. Okay, there were no concerns from the CRAs or the credit reporting agencies that the data was accurate. They didn't care. It was wild, wild west of data collection and selling. There were also no restrictions of who they were selling the data to. So they could call your neighbor, get dirt about you, call your other neighbors, and sell them that dirt on you. And that is exactly how things used to be in the credit reporting industry. So what happened is in the 70s, they started to get computerized. And as the bureaus started to go to computers, then our government stepped in. They realized there was an obvious need for regulation of the credit reporting agencies, and they created this Credit Reporting Act to make sure that the data that was collected and that was actually put out there was actually accurate. So the FCRA, this Fair Credit Reporting Act, includes many provisions governing what agencies, including creditors and the CRAs, can and can't do. I already went over that. The FCRA also requires that all data reported on a consumer meet 3 very specific criteria. And this is what you really care about because this is the heart, this is the backbone of credit repair. The data on a report must be 100% accurate. It has to be 100% verifiable. It has to be 100% timely, which means it is being reported within the statute of limitations where it's allowed to actually report. So let's talk a little bit more about it being 100% accurate. Well, all information has to be 100% accurate. This means that all aspects of the data reported be 100% accurate. Let me show you what I mean. This is the contents of a line item on your credit report, a trade account. You have the account name, the account number, the credit limit, the highest amount borrowed, the balance, the account status, the open date, the date last active, which doesn't actually show on a report, but is a date that's tracked, date of last payment, date of last late payment, status code comments, and more. So this is the details of what you see on a trade line, on a credit report, an account that's reported. Well, according to the FCRA, every single point of data here that I'm listing has to be 100% accurate. So all of these are reasons to actually dispute the item. You can dispute it because the account name is incorrect. If they verify that it is, you can come back and dispute that the account number is incorrect. You can dispute and so on and so on and so on. So this is really the heart of credit repair because all of this data has to be 100% accurate. So a large part of credit repair is making sure that the reported items meet the actual legal aspects of this FCRA, that they are 100% accurate, that that all aspects of that reported account are 100% accurate. So again, all of these aspects have to be 100% accurate, but in most cases, the data is not accurate. Almost any credit report will show you that the data being reported doesn't even match what other reporting agencies are reporting. And this is one of the easiest ways we ever used to show customers that their credit reports were wrong. We would have them enroll for credit monitoring, they would pull a report, and we would just go through the report with them. And if you've ever looked through your credit reports, of course I'm sure that you have, if you see negative information, look and see what each bureau is reporting. You'll commonly see that they are not the same. Each bureau is almost 100% of the time reporting different data from each other. The limit's different, the amount owed is different, the status of it's different. So obviously the data cannot be 100% accurate if you have one or two or three of the bureaus all reporting different information. It becomes pretty obvious that somebody's wrong in that case. So most of these derogatory accounts do have some type of inaccuracies. Okay, and look, this isn't accidental. Here's what happens. The credit bureaus, and I won't go into some big long spiel. I could just tell you that the credit bureaus make money when your data is inaccurate and wrong. Sounds weird, but let me explain it to you. If I'm buying leads from the credit bureaus, subprime data is more valuable than prime. Subprime data is where the credit card companies make all their money, where all the car loan people that charge you 20% make their money. So that data they charge more for. So when you have bad stuff on your report, it actually helps the bureaus. They sell the data for more money. Not to mention that they have a system where when you dispute, when they have to process a dispute through the creditor, they get paid. So they actually profit whenever you dispute. So again, they have no benefit of the information being accurate on a report. The more negative it is and the more inaccurate you dispute, actually the more money they end up making. So the data also has to be 100% verifiable. So the FCRA also requires that all data is being reported from the CRAs, and hopefully somebody just said my voice keeps going out, so hopefully everybody's not having that problem, but I only have one person that chimed in, so hopefully that's the case. So the FCRA also requires that all data is 100% verifiable. Okay, so no data can be reported that can't be verifiably proven to be accurate. Even if the data is accurate, it can't be on the consumer credit reports unless it can be proven to be 100% accurate. This is the FCRA's requirement. So, I used to run into customers and say, well, look, I had this account. This account was mine. Well, that doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, nor does it mean that the creditor can actually prove that the account is accurate and should be there. And it's their responsibility to do so. If they can't, then it has to be removed. Again, if the data can't be proven to be 100% accurate and verifiable, it has to be removed. That's the law. It also has to be 100% timely. So the FCRA has time frames of how long negative items can stay on your credit report. You've probably heard this before, right? Negative items can stay on your credit report for 7 years in most cases, past the date of last activity, the last time you made a payment on the account. Right here is why, well, FICO, the brand new FICO that just rolled out, actually adjusts for this now. All older FICO versions used to hurt your scores if you paid off a collection because you updated the date of last activity and you prolonged how long it would stay on the report. So you have to be careful even recommending people pay off collections because an account stays on the report 7 years past the date of last activity. And with some public records, actually with most public records, they can stay on there for 10 years. And then people like judgments can even renew them. They can keep them on there for another 10 years or so. So again, the data has to be 100% timely. The date of last activity is the last day you made a payment on the account. So if your last payment on an account was January 1, 2010, the account would have to be removed on or before January 1, 2017, 7 years. But you see, you can see how if they manipulate this date, that doesn't even report on your credit report, by the way, unless sometimes you get a report from the bureaus themselves and it does, then if they manipulated this one date, they could prolong how long things stay on your report. This is why the FCRA exists, because if they change this day, as often happens, and something's on your account credit longer than it's supposed to be, then again, the FCRA says you have the right to dispute it. If they can't verify that it actually was the date of last activity, what they report, they have to remove, which In this example, they can't because it's obviously wrong. So if you do dispute the CRAs, most of them now list the date on the report they send you, but again, it isn't often available through credit monitoring. So this is exactly why collection companies will let you make near any payment to them. Okay, and this has always been a tactic. They'll let you pay $10 because if you do, you reset the date of last activity. I know people that somehow escaped foreclosure. Okay, they didn't pay the bank had problems with paperwork, could not come after them in the proper amount of time, and they now own the house. The company cannot actually sue them because they passed the statute of limitations in the state, and they can't even report the mortgages because they've been on there for less than 7 years past the date of last activity. If somebody was to pay a payment on that mortgage, then all of a sudden the account would get re-reported and they would, again, could be sued. So this is a big deal. Statute of limitations, how long something can legally be collected on. Date of last activity, how long something can be reported for based the date that you made your last payment is very important. So this date is different than what I described the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations is how long they can collect on a debt for legally in the court. In Florida, for most contract debt, it's 5 years. So, for example, if I default on a credit card, they could sue me for 5 years. They can keep it on my credit report for 7 years from the last day I made a payment. So again, there's a difference between the statute of limitations when they can legally collect and the date of last activity from when they actually can keep the account reported on your credit report from. So now that you know how credit repair works, let's dive in to start talking about how you can actually start a credit repair business. Well, let's start right from the beginning. Now, some of you might already have a business started. Don't worry, tons of benefits still to come in what we're going to talk about. But I want to take all of you that are even maybe just interested in starting a credit repair business, and I want to teach you exactly what to do from inception so you know the exact steps. So first thing is, of course, thinking of a name for your company. Try to stay away from names with credit or credit repair in them, because some banks, merchant account providers, and other type of institutions will instantly label you as high risk. I had this happen. I had an account with Wachovia at the time, before they became Wells Fargo, and I had a bank account there. They shut down my bank account just because our name was Elite Credit. They saw the name, and they saw credit in the name. They assumed we were credit repair. They said, we don't deal with credit repair companies, and they shut down our account. So the name itself, you got to be careful of. You don't want to try to put credit or credit repair in the name, because in some cases you will have problems immediately be putting into a high risk segment just because you do. That's just my personal advice from experience. So now that you've thought of a name, check with your Secretary of State to see if that name is available. If it is, file for a corporation or LLC in your state with the Secretary of State. So let me take a step back. So this is exactly the process for setting up a business. You think of a name, you go to your Secretary of State to see if anybody else has that name. Now, if you don't know what that is, then just type into Google, Secretary of State, Florida, and they'll pull it up. Our website down here is called sunbiz.org. I go there all the time. So I go to our Secretary of State website, sunbiz.org, or you could even type into Google, set up a new corporation, Florida, whatever state you're in. And in Florida, it cost me $60 to set up a corporation. Some of you from Texas and California on this call are laughing hysterically because I know it costs you like $600 to set up a corporation. I actually set up a corporation in Texas, so I'm very well aware of that. So some states are cheaper than others. But the bottom line is you have to have an entity to be a real business. So once you think of a name, you simply go to the website in your state where corporations are filed. You search for that business name, and if no records pop up, then you know the name's available. If a company record pops up, then you know somebody else has taken the name. So find a name that isn't available, that nobody else in your state has, and then you can set it up. You can go right through that same website, the Secretary of State website, and set up your corporation. It only takes a matter of minutes. Now, you want to set yourself up as a corporation or LLC. Don't do a sole proprietorship. Don't do a partnership. That has to do with liability. Okay, I'm in the business credit world, so I know all about liability, and I can tell you that if you do a partnership, if you do a sole proprietorship, you're going to be liable personally for everything that happens in your business. If your business gets sued, they can sue you personally. You don't want that. You need to separate your liability from yourself and your business. So the best way to do this is you have to set up an entity that eliminates your liability. That is a corporation. That is an LLC. Choose one. Doesn't matter which one, but make sure you choose one of those to eliminate your actual liability. Okay, so After your entity is set up, then ensure the next step you set up is to set up your EIN number. Now, you want to do this on the website irs.gov. Do not pay for your EIN number. Don't do it. It's free. And there'll be plenty of websites out there that try to make it look like an official government website when it's not, and they try to charge you money. Don't fall for the trap. EIN numbers are free. If you go to a domain irs.gov to get your EIN, or if you even search how to set up my EIN, find the domain irs.gov, go there, get it set up for free once you have your actual entity set up. Okay, then, again, don't do this because it is free. Once you have your entity and EIN, the next you're going to want to actually set up your bank account. Those are the 3 steps to set up any business. And one day I just needed to set up a company, and I did this just as a test, and it took me 43 minutes to do all 3. I set up my entity online, I got my EIN, I went down to my bank and set up my bank account, and I was out timed in like 43 minutes. I was done. So it doesn't take a lot of time to do these 3 things, but these 3 things are what give you a legitimate business. Now, again, I'm going to give you a warning. When you set up your bank account, they're going to try to charge you, like when you tell them you need checks, they're going to tell you it's $150, $200 because they're giving you a binder and they're giving you stamps and they're giving you 10,000 checks. Don't fall for that. Get the least amount of checks you can get to start. Don't get the binder and the business startup package. It'll save you like $100. Just, again, a little bit of insider advice. So you'll also want to get set up to collect payments. So for this, you're going to need a merchant account. Okay, merchant accounts are what give you the ability to accept credit cards from customers. And this is essential when you own a credit repair business, because a lot of people are going to pay you monthly. So there's no way you could manually control thousands and thousands of payments. It would be a nightmare. But if you have a merchant account, they'll give you a gateway. You can set up a lot of things to happen automatically. Like if I'm your customer and my payment's due on the 1st of July, then you can process my payment automatically the 1st of July and every month on the 1st without manually doing anything. It's essential because credit repair success is about handling a volume of customers, a high volume of customers. So that means you need to automate as much of this process as you can. You've got to have a merchant account. If you're relying on people to pay you cash and checks, you're going to lose 70% of the potential business that you could have. Now, keep in mind, credit repair is a high-risk industry in the merchant processing space. So you need to find a merchant account that can help you on high-risk accounts. Now, we have one that we use here, businessfinancesuite.com/merchant. Look, you can use whoever you want to use. Again, we've been through this before. A lot of our clients are credit repair companies. Okay, credit repair companies have a natural tendency to also want to offer business credit because their customers need it. So a lot of our customers are credit repair companies that struggle to get merchant accounts. So we set up some unique relationships with providers that openly accept the credit repair industry and will not give you issues, and also deal with high-risk accounts if you have credit problems, and also give you really good rates. And if you want, you can access the source right there, businessfinancesuite.com/merchant, MERCHANT, and that's a really good source. So again, you don't have to use our source, and it doesn't matter to me who you use, but if you use someone other than this, make sure you ask them and tell them straightforward that you're in credit repair, and make sure they'll help your industry, because I've been on the other side. I've gotten with companies that didn't know I was in credit repair, and the minute they knew, they shut us down. You don't want that to happen. You want to tell them up front and work with a company that will openly help you, knowing that you're in the credit repair industry. So let's talk a little bit about how to get new customers. Now you're kind of set up, right? You know how credit repair works. You've got your entity, you've got your company set up, you've got your bank account so you can accept payments, you've got a merchant account set up, you're good to go. So now it's time to start talking about how to get new customers. Well, there's a lot of ways to advertise repair. And again, here's that link I gave you in the beginning of this actual show, creditsuite.com/credit repair. If you go there, you'll be able to find, I've got a few videos on how to get customers. One's like how to get 100 customers a month. One's like 20 ways to advertise credit repair. Another one's 6 main ways to advertise credit repair. I don't have time to pour into all these today because I'm trying to cover so much in such little time. But what I will tell you is that if you go to creditsuite.com/credit repair, there's at least 3 or 4 video resources that will teach you tons of stuff Really good stuff, tricks and tactics that have worked very well for us to get customers. And that's important because in credit repair, you're not making a lot of money initially from each customer. You gotta be able to advertise on a shoestring budget. So you're gonna find a lot of advice there on exactly how to do that. Okay, in my experience, your advertising should reference what they want versus the repair itself. So let me tell you exactly what I mean. We used to advertise a lot. We used to do Craigslist, for example. Every city in the United States, we did about 60 credit repair clients a month just from Craigslist. And in that, if we advertised people to come in for credit repair, nobody would call. But if we advertised, hey, let us help you fix your credit so you can get into a mortgage, or call us today to talk about getting a car loan with bad credit, well, then our phone would ring off the hook. So when you advertise and promote your business, try to promote the end result that they're going to get. Most people have their credit fixed because they want to buy something like a car or a mortgage. So promote that, hey, let us help you get a home loan even if you have bad credit. That'll get your phone ringing off the hook. Whereas if you say, hey, call me today to fix your credit, not as many people are going to call. So always focus on that end result. A piece of advice from experience. So for example, you'll get leads easier if you talk about helping customers get a car or a home loan than you will about fixing their credit. Customers want the end goal, a home, a car, not the process, not the actual repair. So by advertising that you can help them get their credit to where they can get a home or a car, you'll get the best results. One of our best Craigslist campaigns was we'd say, hey, get a mortgage with bad credit. People would call in, they'd go into our call center, we'd ask them questions. If their credit was already average or better, we would put them right to a mortgage broker to get a home loan. They didn't need credit repair. But if their credit was bad, then we would immediately upsell them on credit repair. And again, that's how we were doing 60-something deals a month. We were not advertising credit repair. We were advertising home loans with bad credit. And people would come to us. We'd get the good people qualified to brokers, and the people that didn't, we would upsell them on credit repair. So it's essential that you build a sales funnel or an email autoresponder also. And again, I cannot tell you how valuable this info is. If I'm going a little fast, then don't worry. If you attend this actual show all the way through, you're going to get a playback of this anyways, and you'll be able to stop, rewind, go back, and write anything down you may need to write down. So this is essential. No, scratch it. This is the most important thing I can teach you that took me years to learn and helped me make a lot of money once I figured it out. You have to build a sales funnel or an email autoresponder for customers. It's essential when you're doing credit repair. And here's why. There's a lot of consumers that don't think credit repair is legal, and they don't think their credit can be fixed. And it's because the credit bureaus have run these monumental smear campaigns against credit repair to convince people that, hey, don't even bother disputing your negative items. Okay, just let your credit stay bad. Our data's more valuable to us if you do. So there's a lot of people that just don't believe that credit repair works. And this was surprising to me when I got into the industry. For this reason, you might need to educate them before they'll buy. Okay, so a good email drip campaign can do this for you, making the sale a lot easier to do. And again, I put together on that resource, creditsuite.com/credit repair, there's 3 months of actual email content, autoresponder content, so you could see what I'm talking about. So let me explain to you how this works. People would come to us, and they wouldn't believe credit repair worked. And it was frustrating because now not only do we need to sell the customer on our services, we need to sell the customer on the concept of credit repair itself. So it became a very difficult sale on a phone call. So what we realized was this. When we took these same people when they didn't sign up and we put them into an email sequence that educated them about credit repair, that told them what I'm teaching you, right? Told them what the Fair Credit Reporting Act was, how it worked. Well, how the Fair Credit Reporting Act required items to be 100% accurate, verifiable, and timely. How the FICO score worked, how their credit score was calculated, what percentage of their credit score accounted for payment history, and these type of things. Other consumer laws and how they regulated credit. When we started educating through email drip, and an email drip means I send you an email today, and in 5 days you get another email from me. When we educated people this way, then a few months down the road, they'd call back and just be ready to sign up. There was no sale to be made. The call would go something like this. Hey, Ty, I've been getting your emails, and I got a couple questions. Question A, question B. Okay, I'm ready to sign up. Honestly, it freaked us out. We went from this uphill battle to educate them on the phone to now let our email campaign educate them. And now they came into us automatically ready to buy because we already taught them about the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We already taught them that items had to be 100% accurate, verifiable, and timely. We actually showed them real results we were getting and showed them inaccurate accounts. We introduced them to all this stuff that they then knew that credit repair worked once we showed it to them. Okay, so your email autoresponder can be set up cheap with a company like iContact or Aweber. These are really cheap. Like one of my buddies I had lunch with last week, and he was paying like 30 bucks, I think, for his entire campaign, even less. Your campaign should educate, not sell. Teach them how credit repair works. Don't try to sell them stuff. Okay, don't put them into an email autoresponder that says, buy from me today and fix your credit from me today. They don't want that. Excuse my language, but crap. They are interested in credit repair. So give them what they want. Teach them, educate them on credit repair. And the result is that most of them will come to you to have it done. Include emails on credit scoring, the Fair Credit Report, and other laws that they know, that should know, and more. Teach them through emails how repair works, making them more comfortable and building rapport. And that's what ultimately happens here. So now you go from a customer not knowing about credit repair, not understanding how it works, to now they understand how it works. Now you've educated them, and in doing so, you've become an absolute authority. Okay, so now what happens is you become an absolute authority on credit repair because you've educated them. They came into you not even knowing what it was. Now you taught them the FCRA and the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act and all these other things that they didn't know. So now they trust you, rapport is built, and now again they're in a situation where they actually want to jump in and get going. So keep in mind, only about 30% of those looking for repair are ready to buy. Okay, so a funnel is essential to put those who are interested but not yet ready, and once they're ready, you'll be the first one they call. This is the beautiful thing. I'm teaching you something that I cannot tell you the value in. See, most people try to get a customer on the phone and make a sale. And then if they don't make the sale, then they may never talk to that prospect again. Here's the problem with that strategy. This image that you see is called a buying cycle. Most people go through these three stages. They're interested. They start researching, they buy. So think about this if you're buying a car, right? You're interested in getting a car. You know the time is coming to buy a car. So you just start looking at cars on the road to see what you might look like. Your head starts turning a little bit more often at car dealerships you pass because you're looking for models that you might be interested in. Then you move on to the phase where you're almost ready to buy. Now you're researching. Now you're coming in and you're looking at car models and safety and fuel economy and etc. Then you go into the dealership armed with your data, ready to buy. Okay, drives my wife crazy because I will not go to a dealership until I'm in that third purchase stage because I don't want to waste a salesman's time. All the other research and work we can get done before we ever show up there. Here's the problem. If you're only trying to close the guy on the phone that's ready to close, you're only focusing on 1/3 of the buying cycle. You've neglected the people researching and interested. But if you get the people that are interested in researching into your sales funnel, then all of a sudden they're getting emails about credit repairs. They're getting warmed up, ready to go. And then when they're ready to take action, they ain't going to call the guy they see on the park bench. They're going to call you because you're the one that's been sending them all the good content. And again, it's not much of a sale. Rapport is built. They know what you do. They know how you do it. So they're pretty much ready to go. Now you can close the people you're always focusing on closing. And at the exact same time, you can also focus on people that are just in these other two stages of the buying cycle but aren't yet ready to buy. So once you have your funnel built, it also makes sense to set up a landing page to drive them to. You can do this using a company called Lead Pages for less than 40 bucks a month. Okay, and with a landing page in place and a funnel to send emails, once they opt in on your page, you have an automated way to generate leads and convert them into sales. Now, this is exactly how any funnel works. So if you go to the creditsuite.com/credit repair, that's a Lead Pages landing page. So you complete the information, you'll get emails from me automatically. That's exactly how this works. And what's beautiful about this is, just like I'm doing this webinar, okay, all I have to do is tell you about a web page and you go there, and then instantly you're getting information from me. So your whole job becomes just to get people to go to your landing page to get good quality info, okay, and then they get into your sales funnel. Then your sales funnel basically converts them into buyers because it gives them all the information on the topic they're looking for, which is credit repair. So now all you have to do is push customers to that landing page to start the sales process. It makes your job a lot easier, because instead of trying to figure out all these creative ways to get people, all you have to focus is getting people to go to one website, whether it be you're advertising on Facebook or you're advertising on Craigslist or whatever it may be. And then when they go in there, boom, they enter their info, they're getting info from you, and a lot of those people automatically then convert to sales. So one great way to advertise is to give away free stuff such as ebooks and guides. Okay, the best we ever had was a credit repair kit that we ended up making into a 30-day course. So this is what we found. People are obviously willing to opt in more, okay, if they're actually getting something of real value. The more value you give them for free, the more inclined they are to actually opt in. That's the way that it is. So what we had was this credit repair kit. It was, I mean, amazing. The thing had a tracking Excel log where you could track your results. It had 101 dispute letter library, 101 dispute letters, advanced dispute letters, basic dispute letters that could be used. Okay, on top of that, I had a 130 page guide that explained how eOscar and OCR, the credit bureau's computers, worked, how the FCRA worked. I explained everything someone would need to know to fix their credit. It was a complete kit to fix your credit. Well, this was so successful that we ended up turning it into a 30-day email course. And then through the course, we upsold them on our credit repair services, gave them discounts, those type of things. It was the best way we ever got people into our funnel. Now, some of you are going, well, that makes no sense. That's absolutely crazy. I'm trying to fix their credit. You're talking about teaching them how to fix their credit for free. Oh, yes, I am. Because credit repair isn't an easy thing, as a lot of people think that it may be. You have to know the credit bureau's computers. You have to know all of this information. So the purpose of our credit repair kit was to give them so much information that they would be so overwhelmed and confused that they would instantly go, dude, you guys just do this. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'll just pay you $100 a month and you do it, because there's no freaking way I could know all these laws and all the stuff there is to know that you guys obviously do. That was the whole point of it. We gave them away stuff of really high value, but it was so overwhelming and confusing that their natural instinct was, okay, this is obviously legit credit repair. Obviously, there's a lot involved, and I obviously don't want to deal with it. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people would actually go through, do the steps themselves, get great results, and give us great testimonials that we used. Okay, but the majority of people would end up coming into our funnel and converting and becoming a credit repair customer for us, because they saw how overwhelming, confusing it was, and provided a lot of validity to the services we offer. So the better your lead magnet, the more prospects you'll get. And by the way, that credit repair kit is available on that same page. I put all these resources for the purpose of this webinar, thecreditsuite.com/credit repair. So ensure you have solid social media pages also. You've got to have a Facebook business page. You need to have a Facebook professional page. What does that mean? It means my company, Credit Suite, has a Facebook page. Myself, professionally, Ty Crandall, has a Facebook page. So should you. People are looking for you. They're looking at your, nowadays, this is how I judge credibility. I'll tell you right now what I do. When I go to somebody's website, I go, the website looks pretty professional. They look legit. Then I go find their Facebook icon, and I click on the Facebook icon, and I see how many fans they have. I'll tell you, I'm not the only person that does this. A lot of people nowadays use social media to validate the credibility of the source. Okay, this is why social media is so important. I don't care if you're on Facebook all the time or Twitter or any of those things. You still need to have professional Facebook pages set up. Now, as I talk to you, 15% of our business comes from Facebook, and it's free. It doesn't even cost us anything to advertise. It's another reason you should set this stuff up, because look, credit repair, you're not going to make a ton of money from each customer that you're selling. So you need the best, easiest, cheapest ways to advertise, and Facebook is a great way to do that. For example, here's our Facebook business page, 6,000 likes. So people come, it instantly shows credibility. We have tons and tons and tons of posts on our page. We post about 5 to 10 times a day on our social media. There's just absolutely no question that people respond to our social media. Okay, and again, you might be like, I don't have time to post 5 times a day. Don't worry about it. Hire a virtual assistant from a place called Upwork.com. Upwork.com. Upwork.com, you can get virtual assistants for $2, $3 an hour. And that's exactly what we have. We have somebody at $3 an hour that handles all of our social media posting. We give them instructions of what to do. So for example, on that website I talked to you about earlier, you have 3 months of social media posts. You just give her the social media post, tell her to also get interesting facts and cool motivational quotations that are like image quotes, and they just post that kind of stuff on there regularly, and that alone will net you a lot of business. Here's my professional page. Okay, you don't need some goofy picture of yourself holding your hand out there. I have no idea what that's even about, but you still should have a professional page with your picture. Why? Because people are going to Google you. And if they Google you, Facebook has so much precedent in Google that Google shows Facebook pages nearly first. So you need to have a professional page, because if they go looking for you or your company, then they see what you want them to see, which is a professional Facebook page for your company, professional Facebook page for yourself. And again, it gives you just a ton of credibility. Okay, I got 19,000 likes on my page. So obviously I'm instantly credible. When people see this, I'm instantly an expert in business credit. I have a book up there. You see me in a fancy suit. You see a ton of people like the page. It gives you instant credibility, and credibility is essential when it actually comes to repair. So use Fiverr.com to set up your pages. If you don't know how to set up a Facebook page, if you need a cool background graphic, go to this website, Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com, you can easily set up your Facebook page, but you don't really need it. It's super simple to do. And you can also use Fiverr to get initial likes for your page. You can actually buy likes. So for example, whenever I start a company, I always buy likes initially, because I know people look at the likes on a page. So I want them to see that I have 100 or 200 or 1,000 or 2,000 right away. Again, it gives me credibility. Then more people like the page, and it builds organically from there. Now, this could be super cheap, super expensive, depends on what Facebook has got going on. Last month, I bought 2,000 likes for $5. Okay, then 2 weeks later, I went to buy more. Facebook did some funky stuff, and all the people that sold likes were selling 100 likes for $20. So supply and demand, baby. Depends on, what's going on with Facebook at the time. But if it's really expensive for 100 likes or so, just hang in, keep checking back, and you'll see they get to a point where you can get 1,000, 3,000 likes for $5. It's well worth it to start your page initially. Also put images up. Develop a system to post on your page regularly, as we talk about, as many times as 5 or 10 times a day. So use short and long posts about credit repair and credit scoring, for example. So a short post could be, hey, Facebook fans, do you know what the biggest percentage of your credit score is? A long post could be 35% of your credit score is due to payment history, blah, 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 and explains it in depth. Those are good things to put on there. Interesting facts, quotations, other things that are inspiring are also good. And also make sure you set up Twitter and ensure your LinkedIn profile is very solid. Again, these things take precedent in searches. So whenever you're actually setting yourself up, you need to make sure that you look credible, and these are the pages that people are going to see. So you should have a Twitter account and a LinkedIn account. Look, I can tell you that if you go to my personal Twitter account, if you go to my company Twitter account, I've sent, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 tweets. I've never sent a tweet. I don't even know how to tweet. I have a social media manager that does it, but I still have a massive following on social media and Twitter because they get so much valuable content from me on there. On LinkedIn, you'll also find you can include videos, PowerPoints, and other things that help you stand out. Most people don't know you can do that. You could search Ty Crandall, find my LinkedIn page. Hey, connect with me while you're there. But you'll also see that I have videos and a very deep LinkedIn page, and that's a good thing to have. And I have videos and cool things on there that I want people to see, and my profile stands out because most people don't know you can put that kind of stuff on a page. So another thing I want to teach you about LinkedIn, here's my LinkedIn profile, is type in, this is so cool. You see how I have Ty Crandall Business Credit Expert for my name? You can change that, and that's the keyword. So if you go to LinkedIn right now and search business credit, guess who's one of the first people? I think the first person that pops up, me, because I'm the only guy out there that's got business credit in his name. So you could do the exact same thing with credit repair. You know, Ty Crandall, credit repair expert. Now when someone goes to LinkedIn and searches credit repair, then LinkedIn picks up this keyword in your title and you get pushed really high up in the actual search engine. Okay, and this is exactly why I have award-winning author of Business Credit Decoded. I'm not doing this to like pat myself on the back. This is all keyword rich stuff. So here I am in my name and in my description, my title, I have business credit, business credit. Okay, so this is exactly why I do that. And LinkedIn is keyword rich. The actual the hobbies part of it, the other, just you want to riddle your whole profile with credit repair, because those keywords will then get picked up, which will go a long way for you. YouTube can also be huge. The key is to focus on the keywords you want. Ensure your video titles, description, and tags are all keyword rich. Look, YouTube's easy to conquer. We just created a YouTube channel 3 weeks ago. We now have 2,100 likes on it. And now if you search business credit, I am 20% of the first page in YouTube after 3 weeks. You can do the same thing too. It's like Google, but nobody's competing on it. It's crazy. So it's wide open to start advertising credit repair on YouTube, putting up consistent videos, making sure that your videos say credit repair. Go into YouTube and type in credit repair in the search box. It pulls up a whole list of suggested searches. Put in videos with the name of every one of those suggested searches. Make the videos a few minutes long, teach something valuable, put those keywords in the title, in the description, and in the keyword section of the video. And if you're doing this and putting up consistent content, then you're going to start to get a following pretty quick. YouTube now accounts for 20% of our total business. So if you're doing the math, I'm telling you 35% of our total business at Credit Suite now comes from Facebook and YouTube, which are both free advertising sources. So make sure you do a lot to own these and keep putting up the content regularly. Okay, this was our page, I don't know, a few days ago, 1,700. We're now up to 2,100. So a lot of things that you can do here. And again, we had another problem with our last page that got taken down abruptly. We had videos that had 30,000 views on them. So this is tens of thousands of people looking at our content and then deciding to become clients because they do. And again, I had a graphics person on Fiverr do this title, this heading up here, super cheap, super easy to get done. And I cannot tell you the value of YouTube, because if you really get to know it, and there's something else called Get More Views. That's a service that I follow this guy, and I just learned a bunch of stuff from him today that I'm going to start applying. So if you really put some due diligence into owning YouTube, you could do it pretty quick, and that could net you a lot of business. So there are also a lot of ways to get customers, but talk with your inner circle of friends first. You know, your past clients, your family, your friends, local newspapers and community papers. Community papers like, you know, the little paper you get just in your neighborhood. That stuff is invaluable. Craigslist, Facebook ads, pay-per-click, all of this stuff are ways that you can advertise credit repair fairly cheap. Pay-per-click and Facebook are very controllable budgets. I'm not sure if Facebook permits credit repair or not. Look at their advertising guidelines. They used to. I used to advertise our free credit repair kit on Facebook and get a ton of opt-ins. And affiliates is the #1 source of getting customers for the credit repair industry. So make sure you target people that are, you know, car dealerships and mortgage brokers and people that need their customers' credit fixed to offer them what they offer. Those are huge. Networking events, seminars, hosting your own radio show, speaking at churches, all of these are ways to get customers. I'm not going to go in depth into this because, again, I already gave you the page where you can get several training videos just on the marketing. So let's talk about CROA, the Credit Repair Organizations Act. You have to know this law named CROA. You'll need to have a contract signed with certain disclosures. CROA is the Credit Repair Organizations Act. It regulates credit repair companies. It says what you can and cannot do. So you have to know this, because if you don't know it, you could have some major problems with the Federal Trade Commission, which you don't want. So for example, one of those requirements is you have to have a certain contract signed with disclosures. You've got to have 3 cancellation notices signed. You cannot charge up front per CROA. You can't advertise across state lines unless you're licensed to do so, okay, and more. You got to know CROA. There's some core restrictions in CROA that you need to know about. And just so you know, and I'm not trying to sell you on business credit, but this is why so many of our clients are credit repair companies. They come into us to sell business credit, because business credit, you can charge up front. You can market across state lines. So what they'll do is they'll advertise business credit, okay, and then they can advertise in every state. And then when the customer calls in, they sell them business credit and financing. They also ask if they need credit repair. It's a good way to be able to combine, cross-sell, and offer them multiple services. Okay, not to mention that a lot of our customers will basically raise the price and charge them for the business credit, and even give them the credit repair for free, so they don't have to actually be charging up front. So there's a lot of ways to incorporate business credit and credit repair together where you can get past some of these hurdles, but you need to know CROA, because there's restrictions there that you just absolutely have to abide by. Setting your price. Okay, according to CROA, you can't charge up front. You can charge an initial consult fee. Okay, many people in the credit repair industry charge $100 to $199 a month. They'll charge $99 to $500 consult fee, then they'll charge $100 to $199 a month. And again, you know, they charge initially for the consult, which was done, and then they charge, you know, in arrears for the monthly, so they're not charging up front. And paper deletion has also become super popular. With paper deletion, you're basically charging them 10 to 50 bucks per item you get deleted from the actual credit report. So how to dispute and win? Well, the backbone of credit repair is the dispute process. In the beginning, to save some money, you might try to dispute yourself using no software, okay, but it's going to be very time consuming. Really consider using a good software company, and there's a lot of them out there. So if you go to that, you know, creditsuite.com/credit repair, I'll get you to one that somebody that's helped thousands of people, that's really reputable, been around a long time. But they all charge somewhere between 150, 300 bucks a month. It'll save you a ton of time. In the beginning, I started our credit repair business with no software. I'll never forget going to my processor's home, because at that time it was a home-based business, and seeing her on her floor with papers strewn out everywhere, and she told me she was in the middle of a dispute. It was crazy. It took her 30 minutes to dispute. Once we started using software, then we cut that down to 5 minutes to dispute. So it saves you a ton of time, and when you can get in the door as cheap as 150 bucks, it's definitely worth trying. You must be able to handle a large volume of customers to find success with credit repair. Large, bold, red. That means it's highly important. Credit repair is all about handling a volume of customers. You need systems, you need automation, you need software, because you have to handle hundreds and hundreds of files at any given time to really make good money with credit repair. So it's important to know. Remember, all disputes come down to, is the account accurate? Remember, we talked about that. 80 to 90% of the accounts that you dispute don't meet this criteria. They're not accurate. That's how you get them deleted. So get a good grasp on the Fair Credit Reporting Act before you start disputing. And the more you understand other consumer laws, the better success you'll have. We even used to charge more money for people where we went direct to the creditor. So we used to charge $99 a month if we dispute to the credit bureaus. If you want us to go to the creditors and the credit bureaus, then we would charge $199 a month. So you need to know these other consumer laws I'm going to teach you, because these are important for advanced disputing. Okay, one is called FACTA. FACTA is another government regulation that helps improve and protect consumer credit data. It helps you fix and prevent identity theft. It gives you the ability to have fraud alerts put on the actual customer's credit report. And FACTA is what gives you the legal guideline to actually dispute direct to the creditor. Okay, so that's a very important law. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, another very important law you should know. Hours for phone contact, it regulates. Failure to cease communication upon request. These are all restrictions per the FDCPA. Causing a telephone to ring or engaging any person repetitively, auto dialers per se. Communication with consumers at their place of employment. Contact by embarrassing media. Reporting false information on a consumer's credit report. All this stuff is illegal per the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So there's a lot you can get out of this law. Communicating with the customer after request for validation has been made. Misrepresentation, deceit, publishing the consumer's name or address, seeking unjustified amounts, threatening arrest or legal action when they don't plan on backing it up is illegal. And you know how many collection companies do that? They call you and tell you they're going to sue. Okay, well, that's laughable because unless they have a history of doing so, they can't even make that threat according to the FDCPA. Abusive or profane language, communication with third party, all of this stuff is restricted. It's prevented with the FDCPA. So knowing these things will help you actually win disputes, because if the creditor violates those things, you can easily go to the creditor and go, look, you're breaking this parts of the FDCPA. We're about to file a Federal Trade Commission complaint. Before we do, just delete the item off the credit report and we won't move forward. So you can use that stuff as leverage to help you get these items deleted. The Fair Credit Billing Act allows consumers to dispute billing errors by sending a written notice of the dispute to the creditor. To trigger disputes under the act, a person has to send in writing basically a request for a billing inquiry. Now, what this does is this. Basically, it says this. If I go to a credit card company and I say, hey, man, like you say I owe you 10 grand, I don't think I owe you 10 grand. Why don't you, I don't know, go ahead and give me every single statement throughout the lifetime of my account. They have to do that. The law says they have to give you every single statement through the life of the account. So when you use this law, what happens is you overwhelm them with a request that will take them resources and money to comply with. And if you give them the option of, look, if you don't want to do this, just delete the item from my credit report, you'll see a lot of creditors will just delete the item from the report versus sending you something that could cost them with hours and postage 10, 20 bucks to be able to do. In a lot of cases, it's not worth it. They'll just delete the item versus doing this. This Fair Billing Act is one you should really know well, because again, getting them to comply, and remember the Fair Credit Reporting Act, everything has to be 100% verifiable. So if you ask them to verify your entire billing history, they have to do so by law. So now they have to do it, or the item has to be deleted from the credit report. So you're going to send me 4 years of monthly statements so I can look at them, or you're going to delete the item. I don't care which. When you start doing these kind of advanced disputes, you start getting serious results. The Truth in Lending Act, Credit Repair Organizations Act, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, and many more. These are all consumer laws that require creditors to do certain things. And if the creditor doesn't do those things, then again, you could file a lawsuit, or you could use that as leverage to have the item deleted. So for example, with RESPA, don't ask me for this letter because I have no idea where it is. I mentioned this in a webinar. I still, years later, get requests for it. We had a 16-page dispute letter for a mortgage that required, here's RESPA says we can get all of this documentation, send it all. It basically requests that they send every bit of original loan paperwork to the actual consumer. And they have to do it. RESPA says it's the law. You have to do this upon request. So the problem is, again, if you go to them with a 16-page dispute letter and say, delete the item, or give me all this documentation as you're required to by the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, in a lot of cases, they're more inclined to just delete the item than go through the cost of bringing somebody on their team to get all that data. Plus, they might not even have that data. And if they don't have that data, then all of a sudden a potential lawsuit is at stake. So in a lot of cases, they have so much more to lose by not giving it to you than giving it to you. So they'll usually just delete the item. EOSCR and OCR, never dispute anything online. Okay, because EOSCR and OCR are the credit bureau's computers, and if you dispute online, your disputes just go right into their computers, and you're really at a disadvantage. Other dispute tactics to get around these computers to trick the bureaus up, where the items have to be manually looked at, which will get you the best deletion instead of a computer doing it. Different colored fonts, handwritten letters, switching languages in the middle of letters, writing letters with crayon. Yeah, I'm serious. We used to do that. Okay, thicker stock paper. These type of things trip up these computers and will get you better results. Okay, if your disputes do go through those computers, the entire letter is just basically broken down into a reason code, no matter what you put in the letter. Then the reason is sent to the creditor automatically through EOSCR, and in one click, the creditor could verify accuracy on every account they got that day. You want to try to avoid these computers because a manual dispute will get you better results. So the dispute process outlined. You want to choose a reason for the dispute, write a letter to the credit reporting agencies. You can easily write one from scratch or search online for letters, or there's one in that kit that I told you about. Get back your results, dispute again for another reason. Really, that is the process, as simple as possible. on top of using the other consumer laws to go directly to the creditor at the same time, and continue this process indefinitely until they verified that all those points of information are accurate. Use the other consumer laws to ensure creditors verify the data they have to. Use their violations as leverage to get these items deleted or removed. Remember, nobody's required to report anything on a credit report. Sometimes collection companies will say, well, I can't delete something from your credit report. Yes, you can. The law doesn't say it has to be on there. You have every right to take it off. You're the one that chose to put it on. So keep that in mind. Okay. And also don't forget about business credit. You know, business credit can be built independent of personal credit. So I don't care if you have a 350 credit score, we can still get people $10,000 Dell accounts in 90 days using business credit. So this can be really valuable as a secondary service that you sell, okay, because you can actually help customers with both. You can help them fix their negative credit while building a whole business credit profile per their EIN, okay, and this is really nice secondary service money. I mean, you know, our clients average about $2,000 per business credit sale. So you add that on top of what you're making on the credit repair side, there's a lot you can get out of it. So I hope you enjoyed this. My whole goal is that you got at least a lot of good, valuable content out of this today. Again, don't forget your free resources, creditsuite.com/credit repair. All you have to do is just go through there. That'll take you to a landing page with all the resources I mentioned, and you'll get an email with them also. And if you have any questions, info@creditsuite.com, 877-600-2487. I know how valuable your time is. Hopefully we made the most of it. I got you a lot of good content today. I hate to run. I wish I could answer questions. If you have questions, give us a call, send us an email. But I literally have in a minute another show starting, so I got to move. So again, you know, check out my YouTube channel also. There's a lot of free information on there about credit repair, starting credit repair business, marketing, advertising, business credit. And if there's anything we can ever do for you on the business credit side, let us know. Hope you got a lot of good value out of this webinar. And again, I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time to attend. Thanks, everybody. Good luck in your credit repair businesses.